from each according to his abilities, to each according to his needs, said the famous philosopher, economist, and political theorist, Karl Marx. Marx supported the system of communism. Communism, meaning common, referring to the common man, is a political, philosophical, and economic ideology, whose goal is the establishment of a communist society, centered around the common ownership of properties. It advocates for banning of private properties. It is an economy where everybody is given resources according to their needs, and where everybody has to work according to their ability. It is an economy where workers produce goods and services for the community, and not only for those who can afford. This type of economy is in complete contrast to the laissez-faire capitalism. Laissez-faire is a French word, which translates to, let it do, or let it be. In this economic system, the economy is left alone, with a free and competitive market, without any intervention. This is one of the pure forms of capitalism, which refers to a capitalism free of regulations, with low, or minimal government, and operating almost entirely on the profit motive. This economic system believes that the demand and supply of the free market is the best way to produce and allocate resources to everybody. At the time of the Industrial Revolution, the world was getting wealthier. Goods and services were now being produced easily, quickly, and at huge volumes. Factory owners were getting rich. There was prosperity and growth all around. Profits were increasing, and the quality of life was getting better. But all of this was happening only to the rich. The workers were not getting richer. In fact, their quality of life was deteriorating. As there was competition in the market for providing the best quality of goods at the cheapest price possible, and due to the greediness of the factory owners to increase their profits, workers became the target of these businessmen. The factory owners started reducing the wages of the workers, and as there was an abundance of workers, the laborers had no choice but to accept the given wage, otherwise, they will be replaced by a worker who is willing to work at a lower wage. There were thousands of workers fighting for some limited jobs. So the worker had no choice other than to accept the reduced wage. After seeing the condition of the society, some prominent thinkers, like Karl Marx, started thinking that, if this system continues, then there will be a revolution. A revolution of the commons. When workers have nothing to lose, and are totally frustrated from this system, they will overthrow the capitalist, and split the land and capital equally among the laborers. Marx did not advocate it for a revolution, but saw it as an inevitable future. After the revolution, the communist system will be implemented. The economy will then produce goods and services on the instruction of the government. The goods and services will be given to everybody according to their needs. If a man has 5 children and a wife, then he should be given more goods and services than a single rocket engineer, because the engineer doesn't need much resources. So then why a person should give their time and effort in becoming a rocket scientist or a doctor, if they can get more resources by simply having more children? Another disadvantage of communism is that the government decides which goods will be produced, and how much of the goods will be produced. But in the absence of demand and supply, it is very hard for anyone to decide which goods will be produced, and in what quantity. And hence, this results in the surplus of one thing, and shortage of others. The free market is the most effective way of knowing the demand of the people, and produce accordingly. The government or any organization can never calculate the demands of the people accurately. So the free market, of laissez-faire capitalist system, appears to be the best way to fulfill people's demand, with low or minimal intervention by the government. But there is another extreme form of capitalism, known as anarcho-capitalism. Anarcho-capitalism is a political and economic theory that totally abolishes the government, or any such centralized states. In this type of economy, everything is privately owned. There is no public goods or services. There are no public schools, roads, parks, or hospitals. In this system, there is no social welfare, emergency services, or public security, like police or military. Everything is done and owned by private individuals, for the exclusive purpose of profits. But this system has a lot of problems. Take a street light for example. A street light is not a cheap item. It costs money to install it and to run it. In this hypothetical capitalism, no one would want to lay down street lights, as there is no profit for an individual to do it. It cannot be monetized. No one would pay for it. But we will still need street lights to illuminate our streets and surroundings. It would be a terrible society. And this same thing goes to emergency services. So we would not have any public privileges that we have now, which is absolutely necessary for the proper functioning of the society. Seeing these needs of the people, a company can offer to provide these services in a particular area, in exchange for a certain fixed amount per month or per year. They will lay down the street lights, maintain a system of emergency services, and protect that area from external threats by a security force. All this will be done by the organization in exchange for an annual or monthly fees. And if someone didn't pay that amount, then they will be expelled from that area and will not get that goods and services. And as you may have guessed it, this company is basically the government. So we came back to the same place from where we started. Another way of looking at anarcho-capitalism is to imagine an economy where we wouldn't even have goods at all. Almost every single product you use is the result of collaboration among different humans. A group of people give their time, effort, and brain to produce goods and services. A single person can't fulfill his or her desires alone. So eventually, people will form communities and distribute the work and profits among themselves by trading the goods to each other in a free market. Everything goes well until a conflict occurs, or some people start stealing the goods from other people. The community calls a meeting to find a way to safeguard them from the stealers. The community makes some law and a security force who will enforce the law. The security force is being paid by the people according to their capacity. All goes well, and robbery becomes rare. After some time, a fire breaks out in one of the houses and destroys the whole house due to lack of prevention measures. The community meets again, adds a bunch of laws to the existing one, creates a fire force, and decides to pay for it in accordance with their individual capacity. The community also gave some work and power to a group of people to maintain all these services. This goes on until the people realizes that they have basically founded a government. So obviously, neither of these extreme economic systems exists in today's world. Every economy takes the middle ground. We should understand that neither of the extreme theories is perfect, and has a number of disadvantages, along with their advantages. We should take the advantages of these systems, and ditch the disadvantages. There are some goods and services that are best delivered by private entities, due to their profit motive, and a competitive market. But there are also some goods and services that are best delivered by the government, with the motive of doing social welfare, to continue to be in power. So the government should intervene and regulate the market where necessary, but it should not overdo its regulation to a limit where the economy is hampered.